masciata una shakhe Rio henta quinash kitiganwa Shahun shkivan siwan tinimi
The protracted struggle for a comprehensive immigration policy is complex and requires diligence to endure the frustration and deliberately slow pace toward a resolution. That long wait is drenched in the blood of those who suffer, and too many who have died or lost everything in their hope for a new life without fear.
Immigrant is typed to be a certain person of a certain socioeconomic level, of a certain color, coming from a certain part of the world.
When I came in here, I used to dream in the middle of the night that the people that kicked me out of my country are knocking at my door. I would try to jump out the window.
In our facility, we've had kids from India, from Africa, from different Asian countries. We had a boy from China that did not speak one word of English, and the staff, we brought in volunteers to visit with these kids. And when on his first day there, it just happened, and the staff was telling us that they were using Google Translator to talk to him. And the first question he asked was, "Where am I?"
In my own church, people that when we come the time to give the breathing of peace, they do it. But then we go out and we talk about immigration, they say, no, they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be here.
The C.L.U.E California Federation and the Daniel F. Romero Center for Border Ministry in San Isidro convened a statewide conversation on immigration with 40 people from about 30 organizations. In San Diego, they examined the role of faith communities in advancing compassionate immigration policies.
I always think that San Diego is a place, it's an island. And we can think of things and try things here in ideas and in activities here that can't be tried anywhere else that is concerned about being so interconnected with others. We can kind of open our minds here in San Diego because we're on the island. We can be people who learn rather than people who know. We can come with our expertise but not knowing so much and see what we know together when we're finished in the next 2 days.
Our purpose is to come together for a time of reflection and learning about our work on immigration, collectively and individually, in order to work in more effective coordination in the future. We hope that today our conversation is a holy conversation, that we have the sacred is central to all the work that we do. That's why that's why you even know us. That's why we know each other, and so that even as we do this meeting, that this also is the sacred work of the people.
The things that we are experiencing in the United States in our economic lives in terms of high unemployment, low wages, falling wages, horrible jobs, growing inequality, all those things are what's also going on in other countries because the economic policies, because of the work of the United States and other countries in the North, there are similar economic policies around the world having similar impacts, destroying people's lives, and people go looking for an opportunity to support themselves and their families. And so to the extent that we are also experiencing these things here, and people know people that are unemployed, their kids may be unemployed, I think it's kind of, they can somehow empathize with other folks who started off with less and now have even less, and they're experiencing some of those same adverse conditions and hardships that we're experiencing here. And so they're being forced to look for alternatives. And so to tie this together with people's experiences here, in terms of unemployment, jobs, and rising inequality, the lack of democratic process, the rise of corporate power and corporate dominance, corruption, fraud, those things are going on in other countries as well. And if some of our young people and some of our middle-aged people had options and had a country next door where they thought opportunities were better, we might have people immigrating out of the United States. So just to remind people that these are universally bad policies affecting all countries, including us and the other countries, which is a major reason why people are leaving and being forced to leave their homelands and coming here. I just try to make these linkages that it's bad economic policy globally, and one option for people is to come here.
¿Cómo te sentiste?
Yo me sentí, yo tenía miedo, pero me ponía a ver que en mi casa no había que comer, no teníamos recursos para seguir adelante. Yo veía a mi papá cansado que no encontraba trabajo y veía a mi mamá que tenía mucha necesidad.
Obviously, it was very painful to leave the family and her culture and her community, but it was just an impossible situation, and economically, they didn't have enough food to eat. Her mother was able to gather what they could, but even with that, it wasn't sufficient to feed the family. So she saw that, and that obviously led her to feel that, we've got to go elsewhere to make enough money to send back here to maintain the family.
The more NAFTA, the more free agreements that the United States sign, the more we will see people coming into the United States, because that's what it does. Since 1994, before 1994, Mexicans that were coming to the United States were people from rural areas. After 1994, we have a lot of people coming from Mexico to the United States who are professionals, because there is no more opportunities. So NAFTA takes opportunity away from our own countries.
Yes.
And that's something that, instead of asking the government to give money for people here, we should be obligating the United States, like the program in Europe, to be responsible for those who the other countries are pushing to the United States.
So a lot of the work that we do with migrant communities involves leadership development, involves conducting Know Your Rights trainings, involves conducting much more extensive human rights trainings, where we look at the history of immigration into this country and use it as a process by which people then are informed about how they might be able to use those tools, use the Constitution, use documentation as a means to improve their own lives and as a means to organize with each other, so that we then engage them as social actors and not simply as victims or people who have been victimized by bad social policy.
The fact that there is no federal immigration proposal right now is a really good time, because that's before all the divisions start, right? That we should have an educational forum about what is true comprehensive immigration reform, and talk about guest workers. Let's hear about the pros and the cons of the guest worker program, border enforcement concerns, employer sanctions, free trade agreements, and how these all relate. Because I think this is a really good time so that if we could start building so that we can get a better thing, so we can get something better than what they proposed last time. Talking about the United Families thing, gay families, So I think let's talk about all the sticky issues right now, and really have some in-depth conversation among our advocates in the Bay Area. I think that
aprender y hablar inglés.
I am conscious that we live in the United States and we need to learn English.
Y cada vez nos reunimos y hablamos y hablamos y hablamos, proyectamos.
So each time we get together and we talk and we talk and we talk and we project and project and project.
Pero ¿cuándo ponemos en acción toda esta situación?
But when can we put it into
Porque
action?
muchas de las veces nos reunimos aquí, qué bonitas ideas, qué grandiosas cosas, grandes sueños, grandes ilusiones, pero ¿cuándo nos volvemos a ver?
So many times we get together and we have great projections, we have great dreams, we have great plans, but when are we going to act?
Community organizing has hit churches all over, and everybody's doing it, but not everybody is doing faith-rooted organizing. Right. And oftentimes what happens is that we're asked to leave our symbols or leave our language of faith outside and just bring the people, so that we have votes or we have action people. And there's something unique about this perspective that says our symbols are our most powerful voice. And if we can bring them and bring our language and the chance for transformation, the chance for people who don't really know about the reality to get it is greater.
Something as simple as if we we're able to produce a sheet that we share with everyone, that as we do our education, even if it's about the vigils at the detention center or if it's about the Trust Act, that any communication we do include that piece of it.
That's great.
So that we are starting to do the collective education for when it does come up or get more public, we're poised to act.
Working in small groups, the participants looked at ways to broaden the public's awareness and to move the state and nation toward passing new immigration policies. They acknowledged the issues on both sides of the border expose economic injustice and threaten the unification of families. Jobs have been lost in the United States and Mexico, for example, as multinational corporations exploit workers and force people to pull up roots in search of new opportunities. The Reverend Dr. Carlos Carrera of the Romero Center explains that while international laws protect commerce and the cross-border transportation of goods, people do not have those same protections.
It is challenging to be in Tijuana, the television capital of the world, to find my sisters working 12, 13, 14 hours a day that are obligated to use depends because our companies don't allow them even to go to the bathroom. So they are forced to dehumanize themselves so I can have my flat TV in Centro Romero and comfortably look at it, under air conditioning with all you all. So they have teach me those things, and they have teach me, Carlos, these are the challenges we're facing on this side. If you would be able to come together in solidaridad with us, in solidarity, we feel that we can actually make something happen. So that's what I want to share with you.
Las Americas Plaza is a high-end shopping outlet situated along the fortified fence that separates two countries, but it is also a gathering spot to buy with both nations' currencies.
This is a place where San Diego makes, big bucks when it comes to taxes. It is amazing that in the same viewfinder you can see Neiman Marcus and see a wall, a dividing line between, the two countries. So this is an important place, I believe, when you want to understand that dynamic between the U.S. and Mexico. We want our Mexican brothers and sisters to come across, spend their money. Some of these folks, they have to pay for a crossing permit that won't allow them to go further than 25 miles. We want them to spend their money, and they will take your pesos, so you don't even have to exchange your pesos to dollars. They will take your pesos, but we want them just to go back as soon as they can. So this, for me personally, this is another place which is an insult to the potential relationship that could exist between us and Mexico.
Every year, a La Posada is held in San Diego and Tijuana along the border, as people on both sides commemorate the lives of those who died crossing into the United States. They used a Christian story at Christmas about Mary and Joseph searching for a place to stay and bear the birth of Jesus. Today, immigrants still seek hospitality and a place to stay, but like the Holy Family, too often they are turned away, and too often they are left to die in the cold mountains of winter and the blazing desert heat of summer.